What's up?
Welcome everybody. It is the Morning Vibe live on March 28th, 2022. I'm telling you something. We had a first here today. So while I'm enjoying it, we have never had anyone in the green room get into the intro music.
Okay.
And the friend we have coming on this morning, she was getting so into the music, and I was just enjoying it. I said, you know what? Maybe we should just do a loop of the music so no one can see her, just myself and Ryan can see her just getting into the music. I love it. I love it. Even before we get into it, this is going to be an epic conversation. And she's smiling, and she's ready to dance. Man, maybe when she's sharing with us this morning, we put that music in the background we do for giveaways. Maybe that's what we should do, that music. Maybe you have to do that. Okay, let's have some fun. Let's get down to it. So it's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner. 2018. Oh man, our guest is fired up and ready to go. Like, she's got energy. Maybe she's my female vibe. I don't know, but then she's clapping her hands again. Okay, there's not too many times I have so much fun even before we get into it. So let's see if I can get through this without totally messing up. So let's have some. That's all right, guests. We have fun here. We have conversations. Enjoy yourself. So if she's enjoying herself this much before she gets on, get ready. So let's put it on. So again, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Care, and also co-sponsored by Dad Central. I see our friend today, she's a marketing person, so she's impressed by the deets here. So, and through that collaboration with those organizations, I was part of a team that reached out to over 100,000 fathers and dads around the world last year. And as always, I'd like to say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Mr. Green.
Hey, good day. Yes, I claim spring, although winter came back in with the vengeance today. For those that don't know me, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage they're in and then help them create a blueprint to grow their companies exponentially. And as you see in the green, I'm an entrepreneur myself, running Detailing Nights. And so we do mobile waterless car cleaning, going to people's houses, cleaning their cars. But that's not the fun stuff. The fun stuff is our youth entrepreneurship program that we've been able to kick off. We have a couple students starting this month and then a few more starting next month. And yeah, I mean, spring was here for a glimmer, and then winter, over the weekend, it snowed, and it was like the snow that stays on the ground, so it was slippery. And then the wind, it's like -16 right now, which is Celsius. So those in America, we are not in like an ice age, but it is still frigid. So yeah, snow pants and winter jacket had to stay.
Wow. So is it a detailing night stay outdoors today?
No.
Okay.
It's an
Right.
admin day.
Well, okay. There. Well done. Well done. And just want to say hi to everyone who's watching live on the replay. Appreciate you. Got good morning from Pastor Sandy Thomas, who's saying it's still snowing here in London,
Yeah,
Ontario.
yeah. Right.
I'm telling you. So what's been going on? How's the weekend?
The weekend was, I feel like, uneventful until the Oscars, but
We're gonna talk about it for a few
so many
moments.
things are happening, and it was such a chill weekend until, because we were doing our training for Detail Ignite, so we were bringing on to doing a lot of admin stuff, so showing the youth how to like register a business and actually create an accounting, bookkeeping. So it's just like mundane day. I thought I was actually going to skip the Oscars. Super excited about the Canadian soccer team. They clinched going to the World Cup.
Against Jamaica.
And hey, we could have put up a better fight, but bring it. So Jamaica, they came. It was a game in Canada when yesterday it was, I think, -7. So definitely home field advantage for Canada, and they won 4-0. But if you had told me when the World Cup qualifying had started, so this was 19 games ago, that Canada would almost run the table. They went 18 games without losing a match, and then 18 without losing, lost to Costa Rica, and then beat Jamaica to qualify for the World Cup. I just have to slow clap and say, well done, gentlemen. Fan for life. I'm ready to see how it. And then it's gonna. Oh man, I'm thinking because it's in Qatar.
Yeah,
so,
where the average daily temperature is 110 degrees Fahrenheit.
Holy crow!
So talk about qualifying in this weather and then having to play.
That's what I was thinking. It's like complete opposite spectrum.
I'm telling you. Man. So I like how you just conveniently just got away from the slap and just went to soccer.
No, you know why I got away from the slap? Because I actually want to ask our guest about her thoughts on it, because a lot of there was
don't put any pressure on her. She was getting into her intro music, and now you throw her into you're such a wonderful host.
The firestorm on Twitter and in the comments was on both sides. It was, yes, okay, totally unacceptable, no room for assaulting a colleague. But then people were like, oh, you got to protect your woman. Yes, that's the way you protect. Oh, Jaden Smith, I think this morning tweeted, oh, this is how we do it. So is this just a simulation of Black masculinity, like toxic masculinity that people talk about? And for me, I don't know if you noticed, but the Oscars turned up the Black dial a little bit. There was a choir like during the memorial, where they do the obituary section. Venus and Serena kicked it off. There was like a DJ. I was like, they definitely try.
It's interesting. I haven't seen it. Haven't watched your Oscars in about 15, 20 years. Don't care. No, I'm being very honest. And this is my thought on it. I want us to be awarding our own.
Yeah, and this is where, when I say they turned up the Black dial, it almost the stereotype that we're just entertainment for the white community, it seemed like on full display. So yeah, I don't know how people felt about.
I
normally watch the Oscars.
I know it's going to go on forever and ever. Now here's a little aside. I actually met Will and Jada a number of years ago.
Okay, yeah.
A number of years ago at the Toronto International Film Festival, Jada had produced a documentary on the life of Angela Davis. And the premiere was at the Toronto International Film Festival, and they actually came with Ms. Davis. And as they were walking out, I was able to say, hey, how you doing, etc. The more interesting part is that there was a gentleman who worked at the time with Will Smith's production company. And we actually had a really good conversation. Hey, you want to go out to lunch? I said, sure. Where do you want to go? And he seemed to know King Street better than I did.
Right.
And we went out for lunch and we had a really good conversation. I asked him, what's it like what's it like working for Will Smith? He said, Dr. Violet, let me give you an example. He said, one day we were pitching an idea to a company and there was another company against us. We're in competition. And Will turned to the other company and said, look, let me just tell you what's going to happen here. This is my analogy. You and I are on a treadmill and we're running. You're going to fall first.
Oh man.
So, you know,
That's
so
intense.
it was it intentional, just checking the box. Oh boy.
Well, and that's where consistency comes in. So if because for the last couple years, it's been a real, I'll say like people are advocating against the Oscars, although they're not representing or even including a lot of the Black culture. A lot of the nominees were not from the Black community. And then that's where Pastor Thomas is saying, so now are they just checking the box and say, hey, see what we've done for Black people? But if this is more what they're going to include, which the entertainment factor did go up, if they could condense it to about half the time, I think they've got something to work with. But 3.5 hours, I don't know.
I don't watch it. And again, and to be totally honest, I'm not a big movie goer. People say, why don't you go to movies? Say, well, I create my own content from my own people.
Right. Nah, man, I love movies.
Well,
movies
that's and you know, and the thing too is, I know enough people, they live enough movie drama. I don't need to go pay whatever it is. Right? Like, so, and I'm obviously, I'm sure there'll be a lot of time. I'm not going to pay a lot of attention to it because you know what? And I do have to a little bit because it does impact us, what people think about us, whether we like it or not. That will impact, especially Black men.
Well, and look at the headlines. So Will Smith also went on to win Best Actor for his role in King Richard. He's been coveting that award for how long? They almost boycotted when he didn't get nominated for another, like a few years ago. But now all the headlines was just about him assaulting Chris Rock instead of about him winning Best Actor. Well,
it's interesting because he won an award. Well, let's look at the analogy. A lot of people are upset he hasn't won an award. So first of all, the incident last night with Chris Rock. Second of all, he's portraying in some people's minds a very controversial gentleman in Richard Williams.
Yes, absolutely.
So it just seemed that everything just seemed to fall into place. Like controversy just built on controversy, like last night. So but I'm paying a little bit of attention because it's going to say, some people are going to say, hey, you see how they treat each other? Right. You see? Right?
So this is where I'm curious if the Oscars, if this was like
they loved it. This is great for them.
I'm telling you, the Oscars is on everybody's mind to begin the day for Monday.
You know,
if they're like, listen, how do we stir up some? I'm curious what the Nakimbe thinks about.
It's
controversial marketing,
and I know our friend wasn't expecting to chat about this morning, and I can see you going, but we won't spend a lot of time. But to me, what's more interesting that happened in the U.S. last week? Did anyone know that the Black News Channel is no longer?
That is actual bigger news.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody saw Roland Martin.
Yes, I saw
a really good breakdown of why it didn't really last. So
I haven't seen it yet, but I have my thoughts on it just quickly. For people who don't know, Black News, it was a Black News channel that was set up. They got some pretty prominent Black marjournalists who've been on other platforms, on people like, what's the guy's name? Mark Lamont Hill was one.
Okay, I remember him.
There's Charles Blow, who used to be on CNN, who is a writer, a columnist from the New York Times. But this is one of the things that can happen when it's not Black controlled, because at the end of the day, the person who was feeding the money was Sharif Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. So again, these are some of the things when you don't own it, and plus they went out too large. Like they're trying to do all this big thing.
They did control. They didn't own it, but it was run by Black CEO and Black.
Yeah, it was run, but that running and money are two different things.
But I'm saying they got the money they needed to launch the thing. 50 million is not.
I agree, but what was the color of the hand giving the money?
But that doesn't have to do with operations. Like if I
get
50 million, if I get 50 million, I am in charge of that money.
Okay. When you need another million,
why do I need another million? That's the problem. You give money to people that don't know how to manage money. And
you
so,
know,
hey, so
you're
let's
not.
flip it. Hold on, let's flip it for a sec. If it was if it was the guy that owns the Weather Network,
Oh, I know the guy you're talking about.
so if he had given the 50 million and then they blew it, he probably would not have given more money.
Yeah,
Like
but
blowing
who
money
knows?
is nothing to do with.
But they came
who
out. They came
owns
out
money.
too big. Like
But
I
that's
used
what I'm
to.
saying. That's not the
Yeah,
Jaguar
but
owner's
still,
fault.
but those two work with each other.
Nah, that doesn't, because
Okay.
he put up 50 million and they blew it. You can't put that on. Oh, okay, that's because black people didn't own it.
Okay, who blew it?
The people in charge of the station.
Okay, and then to
And
me,
that's the
also,
CEO. What's his name?
Oh, well, the guy who used to be the football player.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't know enough. But I just think that they came out too big. Kudos to Byron Allen. That's who you're looking for.
Allen, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think that what they could have done, I'm gonna say, really, what they should have done is something that we're doing, smaller scale.
Yes.
Smaller startup.
Similar to like Brandon Golness, like what he's been able to do on YouTube, and he's in control of what he's doing. That's where the platforms are going. Having a cable network, I don't know. Like that, to me, that wasn't a good choice. And
Roland Martin, I have some concerns about him, but his model is working because it's basically funded by the audience.
There you go.
Right. And it may take a longer time to get started up, but it's a more community based instead of one person holding the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. But he gave them the bag. That's the crazy. Like if he was holding the bag and like, oh, I'll give you out 500,000 at a time when they know the run rate's like 10 million.
But the thing is, if they needed more money, remember Sharif Khan.
But this is where we all watch Shark Tank and Dragon's Den. If you get money, you have to be good stewards of that money. Yes. And if you're not going to get more money. It doesn't matter who's the funder.
So here's a good question. How many white communications organizations have black people funding them?
The number could be 0, but they don't need that money. So that's where they're not going to the black community to get money to keep their doors open. So
do you feel that we're cutting into our friend's time? So she's put on her glasses, so we better stop while we're ahead. Should have it. So Pastor says, what was the strategic plan? I would have loved to have seen their business plan if they had one, the business concept, financial goals. Good question. But it was just, we'll have to bring this up on Friday because I don't want to take into our guest time. And maybe she'll join in the conversation too, because she stopped dancing. So, I don't, well, so good point. You have to be good stewards of money. I agree, but I just think that, we'll just leave it at that. No, hey, good morning, Michelle from, here's someone that knows our friend. Actually, and she made me aware that our friend's coming on, Michelle, who's in Mexico right now.
Awesome.
Maybe if we don't have a guest on Friday, maybe we'll open up to our family and say, what do you think about all this stuff? Because I'm gonna have to bring some points to the table here. But I thought that it wasn't a good look right from the beginning. They started off too big, getting all this frontline talent, et cetera. And okay. So now I know how Michelle knows our friend. She told me in the comments. All right. I won't put the comments up because, I won't put that comment. I've been told to keep quiet. But it's on Facebook, so I can't shut it down. All right, fam. We're having too much fun here, but let's get our beautiful friend who is in summer colors to just say, forget this winter stuff. So Ryan Knight, media star, my mentor in media. Who's the special friend we've got today?
Yes, and I'm energized about our guest because she's been instrumental in supporting the Afro-Caribbean Business Network and really organizing our marketing. We run marketing masterclasses. She's actually the president of ACBN. So Nakimbe B'aobab.
What?
A lot of people don't know, but she's the mastermind behind a lot of what we've been doing.
So you mean she's too high up. So you guys, that's what I am, just a common man. And for that, there is no sin. So this is it. An old song by Kenny Loggins. This is it. Make no mistake where you are. This is it. Look who it is.
You guys are so wonderful. Oh my goodness. So listen, the only reason I was putting my glasses on and off, it wasn't because I was having a good time, but this age presbyopia thing. So I'm like, I want to look cool for the show, but I can't see you. So
well, come on now. How can you not be cool with those earrings on you?
Oh, well, yeah, I had to. It was too plain before. I'm like, I gotta jazz it up. Ryan knows I don't like to do boring.
True. Yes.
Well, welcome.
Hi.
What's going on?
Yeah, I heard yeah, we're not going to get into last night's stuff, but yeah, lots of great stuff going on outside of the Oscars.
Well, and sorry, so my question wasn't more about the Oscars. It was more about men protecting women. And that's where the conversation was going. Like, does a man have to always step up when their wife or significant other is being attacked? A lot of guys get called punks if they don't do anything. How do you feel about men just stepping up to protect their women?
Well, I definitely, I like and enjoy when a man steps up and protects his woman, but how does he do that and in what circumstance, right? Like, it's not just every time you like start going to blows. There are different ways and levels. You don't have to start off with a punch. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Exactly.
Where do we go from there? I mean, come on. It was a sad sight for me to see, but yeah, men protecting their woman is good. Ryan, you may know I recently got married, so
I was waiting if you don't want to say it, but I'm so excited for you because I saw that Facebook post and you have to flash the ring.
Okay, you know what? Why don't I just take myself off screen and you two can go party on your own?
The reason I want to say that is because Steve Harvey often says that when a man really loves a woman, he will do three things. He will protect her, he will profess his love for her, and he will provide for her, right? And so my man does all three, so he's definitely a keeper. But so yeah, protecting, providing, and professing, is really important. Those three things are important, I think.
Okay, let's get off this subject for now because we don't want Will and Chris to dominate our conversation. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself other than having the big rock and the fly earrings and all that? So can you share a little bit about yourself? And Michelle says, tell her I say hello. She's always been a beauty inside and out.
Oh, I love Michelle. So yeah, Michelle and I went to elementary school together. So Michelle's known me since I was like 10 or 12. So that's why I was like, it's not that you couldn't talk about it. I was like, but she knows a lot. She's known me a long time, like 4 decades almost.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
Tell us who you is, what you do, and other than you and Ryan ruling, what else you do?
Yeah. So I am the president of the ACBN. I'm also the CEO and founder of Mappdom International Digital Marketing and Mobile Apps. And I just want to quickly say, Dr. Vibe, I was so excited to come on with you because what a lot of people don't know is Mappdom, my digital marketing company, actually started off mobile apps. And you and I had been in communication probably back in 2012 around getting a mobile app for your business. You've always been a trailblazer, always been like on the leading edge of technology and what was coming out. So it's a pleasure to be back online with you all this time.
What?
Love it.
No, no. You need to talk to Mr. Green Bean, man. Mr. Green Bean is the man. Mr. Green Bean. But well, pleasure to meet you again. And so what initiated the start of Mappdom back in, was Mappdom, what got your interest into the digital world? Let's just start there first. How did that start?
Well, I guess like a lot of entrepreneurs, I wanted to, leave the corporate world. And at that time, actually shout out to Damien Zamora. I don't know if he's watching, him and his wife. But at that time, I wanted to get out of the corporate world. And somebody put up an ad that said, websites are dead. And that was really good because this is a marketing conversation. So when you guys are doing marketing, you want to have something that's like disruptive or controversial or different. So he had an ad that said, websites are dead. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's that all about? Click here. and he talked about everything going towards mobile apps. So at that time, I figured, you know what, I could develop a whole bunch of like fan and celebrity mobile apps. And then whenever people would download them, if they clicked on the little ad, I would make 3 cents. So I was trying to figure out how many little mobile apps I would need to get like these clicks to make like $3,000 to $5,000 a month so I could leave my job. So that's where the name Mappdom actually comes from. The M is for mobile. The app, which you know is in orange, stands for application, and DOM is domination. So Mappdom stands for mobile application domination. So after going out into the from corporate, right, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these entrepreneurial friends, a lot in the Black community, and compared to what they were doing, compared to what corporate was doing, I'm like, this is so amateur. This is just so basic. Like, our community is never going to get the money they need because their marketing just doesn't work. So I'm like, hey guys, you guys need mobile apps. You need to be on the cutting edge of technology. And you know, everyone's like, well, what do I need a mobile app for? Mobile apps are so expensive. Okay, you know what? What do you want, market? What do you want? And they're like, we want social media strategy. We want this and we want that. So I pivoted. And I think pivoting is an important skill that you need to develop when it comes to business. You don't always know when you're going to need to pivot, but I was able to say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do mobile apps anymore. Plus, Apple had changed their requirements for the script that you could write apps on. So basically, a lot of small businesses that were building mobile apps, their businesses shut down. Like I said, I just pivoted and then went more into digital marketing and digital strategy and really bringing corporate techniques to like Main Street marketers. That's kind of what I do.
Right. And that's what I love about it too, because we always joke that taking people from hustling to corporate, but what are a couple of corporate techniques that you find small business owners like myself typically don't use that the big guys use?
I would say first off is probably research and analytics, because in corporate, it is about a numbers game, right? Those board of directors aren't kidding. Their bottom line is not a joke. So everything you do has to have a return on investment. So they look at the numbers, they see what channels are working, they see what posts are working. Should I be investing in LinkedIn or Facebook, or is it YouTube ads? Because your marketing budget's only going to go so far, right? So I find the big thing with small businesses is, and I'm going to have a webinar about this in a couple of weeks. So small business owners, they're entrepreneurs. They don't know anything about marketing, right? I have my MBA. I have like 20 years corporate experience. So I understand marketing. And I work with a lot of small businesses, entrepreneurs. They go online and like, oh, I got to do digital marketing. So, oh, it says I should do social media. I'm going to do social media. Oh, it says I should do video. I'm going to do video. Oh, it says I should do a blog. I'm going to do a blog. Not nobody, but a lot of people are doing it to the level and the depth and the research vision that corporations do, and then they don't get the results and they don't find, right? So you really have to do research, you have to look at analytics. Don't just post, have a strategy, know who you're going after, you know what I mean? That's the big thing, strategy and research and data, I think.
Okay, so we are having a little bit of challenging because you're coming a little choppy on your audio.
I think it fixed at the end.
It's seen it fixed at the end. Okay. All right, so let's keep it going here. In regards to, here's an interesting question: with the organizations you work with, what percentage of them do surveys?
2%, and probably like the 2% are more sophisticated. They've been in the game a longer time, or they're people I've worked with that I've said you need to do surveys.
Yes, right.
Good. I'm glad that I tell people to do surveys, and I'm glad you verified what I just mentioned about doing surveys, because how do you know what your people want if you don't ask them? Right.
I think a lot of times what I see with small business owners is they're so in love with their service and product.
Stop right there. You and I, we definitely, sounds like we haven't seen each other, but we know each other well. What I tell a lot of business owners: stop making love to your idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
What they want to do. They pick their brand colors because they like their brand colors. They pick their font because they like the font.
So I'm curious to get your thoughts on, International Women's Month is wrapping up, and the way that that is branded and marketed to the world. Do you think that people are engaging with it in a respectful way, or do you feel like it still has a lot of work to do to really, for men especially, to understand the perspective of the women?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I was excited to come and talk about this because I think that, International Women's Month is awesome for its recognition and sort of shining a light on it, right? Mm-hmm. But it can be a little bit commercialized, just sort of like Black History Month. It's just like, oh, it's Women's Day. But it's gotta be deeper than that. I've been working with a lot of female entrepreneurs lately. One of them is a mentorship organization for women. And they're saying women are often trying to compete in a quote unquote man's world in terms of what business should look like or be like, or what the definition of success is. And that's not necessarily the same for women. And then I ran into another organization and the lady was like, oh, they're sick of all of these ads about digital marketing. It's all full of testosterone. And it's like, so, celebrating International Women's Month and, honoring your mom and your sister and your aunt and your grandma, all that stuff is great. But I think just like they have diversity inclusion officers, like in corporations, like have a Black person on the board that can, I think that more organizations need that for women, and particularly in digital marketing, there are not a lot of women. There are not a lot of women of color, and so some of the ads and stuff that are coming out, they're not really speaking to women. And so we either, not me necessarily, but I've heard that they're not attracted to those products, and some of the products that they would be attracted to don't necessarily have the same level of sophistication that some of the ones that are male dominated do. Like, I don't know if it is the analytics, the research, the competition, I don't know what it is, but women, especially women of color and the BIPOC community, don't really seem to be in digital marketing, and they're struggling, and it's sad and unnecessary because they're trying to leave legacies. They're trying to build for their children, which is why I'm so passionate and an advocate for really doing proper digital marketing. And it's simple once you know what to do. A lot of the channels are free. It's just the information online is so generic and basic. You're not getting to the level like of an MBA or like a corporate executive. And like I say, those people do not play with their money. They don't play.
So let me ask, and do you feel that some of these campaigns are more symbolism more than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a marketer, right? So like I just did a talk on how to set like your 1-year strategic calendar. And I'm telling them, plug in your holidays, right? Like make sure you plug in Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Black History Month. And so, how much of it is genuine? How much of it is a marketing opportunity, right? How much of it is just check this off, your something that you talked about for the year. Oh, we did an international promo where we got 40% off. Is that really, passion driven, or is it profit driven? Mm-hmm. So, that's my turnaround. Like if you really care about the needs of women, like I said, don't just kiss someone that you love on Women's International Day. Like something that makes a difference to their bottom line.
Well, it's interesting because I just did some quick research. We first reached out to each other back in 2017.
Okay, for a mobile app, right?
I believe so. So which brings up a very interesting point. Are mobile apps still viable in today's marketplace?
I would say yes and no, but not as much, in my opinion, as they were back then. Like the app stores are sort of getting saturated. Like people have so much data and pictures and video on their phone, they don't really have room for extra apps. Yes. Whereas when I was first doing it, I'm like, yeah, have a restaurant app, do gamification, but it's a saturated marketplace now. And I think with TikTok and Reels and all this and the metaverse and all this other stuff that's coming out, that it's digital technology in marketing is moving in a different direction.
And what is that direction you feel it's moving in?
Like I said, it's those things. It's really getting more into video. TikTok is like huge. Reels. I know that, like, because I'm 49, right? And people in my generation, when I'm talking to them about digital marketing, I don't want to do that foolishness. I don't want to put my face on camera. And I get that. but you got to realize like what market are you going after? If it's millennials, that's where they are. I don't spend hours and hours on YouTube and Reels, but like people who are 35, they're on there all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then the metaverse is the next big thing, right? Like, how are you going to start marketing there in a virtual world? So AI, yeah, those are things like AI, chat box, moving more towards automation. Like I said, that's why I'm going to let you know when I'm going to have my webinar. I haven't set a date for it, but that's why
I'm there. I'm there.
That's why I'm so passionate about it. Because again, one of the things that, Ryan, you may remember this on the series we did. I showed that there's like a pyramid. There are 5 levels of marketing sophistication awareness. 5 levels of marketing sophistication and awareness. And a lot of people are on the bottom level. They're just basically relying on their website and social media, right? That's only going to take you so far. The experts, they're doing automation, they're doing programmatic, they're doing dynamic content. So I can have an email, and depending on if you like, health or tech or finance, the email that's going to go out to you, the content is going to change, right? That way I'm going to have higher engagement, more stick rate, better click-through rate. But if all you
dropping the bombs, here it comes. Yeah, the orange bombs are dropping. Orange bombs are dropping.
I love that orange bombs are dropping. So like I said, if your big ticket to legacy is your website and your social media, and you're missing the 4 other levels, you are in so much trouble, and people just don't know. So like I'm having this webinar to like let people know this is the truth about how you do marketing, not just this fluffy stuff. It ain't gonna work.
So let me ask you. Won't get into too much details live here, but Ryan and I were part of a conversation on Friday with a rather prominent financial institution in this country.
Okay.
And they have a media agency, and the media agency says they were pushing impressions, and we're saying engagement versus impressions. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's twofold. You have to have the impressions so that you can get the eyes to do anything else, right? So impressions are important, but if you just have impressions to impress, you're wasting your time.
That's what we were telling them.
Engagement. You need that engagement. That's the customer feedback. That's the surveys. That's the what are they clicking on? What are they like? How long are they staying on what page on your website, right? Like what content do they enjoy? So impressions, and if you have your impressions in the wrong market, like it can be very sophisticated, right? I always challenge people. I'm like, why don't you go on Indeed and type in Chief Marketing Officer and see what the qualifications for a Chief Marketing Officer, and understand that is the level of marketing competency you need in your business to truly succeed. Then I think people would get a grasp of, like, oh, I got to put a post on Facebook today, like how come I haven't made $1,000? And they're all your friends and family that are following you. I mean, oh my God.
Yes.
Don't make me put my glasses back on.
Well, and it's funny, and you mentioned about TikTok. For people who are watching live on the replay, that is the number 1 engagement site for video right now by far. Like it's blowing out. Like people think Instagram. No, like I've seen stats. The engagement rate on TikTok far surpasses any of these other media platforms right now. Now, obviously, it's a different type of audience, but you got to pay attention to it.
But corporations now, and that's one of my roles, is trying to figure out how to bring these sort of like sophisticated, bring bad names down to that level by still keeping their brand integrity, right? Yes. So it's very interesting, but they can't miss out on that market opportunity, because that's where the new generation is headed. That's the platform they're going to be on. That's where they are.
That's where they are. Yeah, it's over. They are. Your elementary school pal has a question for you. What about someone like me whose business is quote by referral only? What media stuff do I do? I'm not a real girl.
Well, again, I always talk about you really got to know your audience, right? So if you're not a real girl, maybe your audience is also not a real girl. And if I think content marketing would be good for you, and trying to find, and that's I think where the hot sweet spot is now. Like I said, is trying to find a way where you can still maintain your brand identity and be on those other social. So I know Michelle, she's a mortgage broker, right? So I think for her, her business is mainly referral, but if she's able to like get on a podcast like this or write some content, that helps. Yeah, that helps her to people are referring her, and then they do research. They'll be like, oh yeah, she's been on this podcast, she's written a blog. So it's that extra element of credibility that adds on to, you know, referral. Because people have told me, oh my gosh, my business is so good, I can't do anything. Well, good for you. You don't want to scale. You're capped out. That's awesome. You don't have to market if you don't want to, but if you want to have your brand top of mind, get into new markets in case your existing market starts to like whittle away, you're there and you're present. You're not going to all of a sudden catch up with what's new or how to be relevant. So don't just rely on referral marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was cutting out a bit there. I don't know, maybe it'll need some time to calibrate. But one piece mentioning as a mortgage broker, one of our colleagues, Ray McMillan, he's been like on different podcasts, and I know even his son has kind of taken over running the main operations. But now I would say I feel like Stefan is the one coaching his dad, Ray, to, hey, you got to get your face out there. You got to be on engaged. And he writes, like, he shares a lot of articles so that credibility and expert in the field makes a lot of sense. So that's a great tip to give people that don't feel like they belong online.
So let me ask, it through your lens, how has the pandemic impacted digital marketing for Black Canadians?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that question brought me all sorts of emotion. It brought me high with excitement to answer, and then brought me a little bit low, and then high and low. So okay. First of all, and I guess because I had so many little answers to each part of the question, how the pandemic has impacted digital marketing is all of a sudden everyone had to be online, right? Everyone had to figure out how to do Zoom, how to, you know, like dancers and artists, how to suddenly pivot, like I talked about earlier, how to learn all of this technology. So that was one of the things. And again, the upcoming webinar and like stuff I want to do in the future. The marketplace online is so much louder. It was already really noisy before. So it's like, how do you get attention? So that's the first thing. The pandemic has just impacted small businesses because they had to learn how to run their business online. And then when you threw in Black community in there, that's kind of when the emotions went up and down, because statistically speaking, I talked to you about that pyramid of marketing sophistication awareness, right? Level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 5 is automation and all that kind of fancy stuff, right? So if it says that small businesses lag significantly behind corporations when it comes to the adoption of new technology, right? And that includes all areas, whether it's payment processing or digital marketing, whatever. So small businesses fall behind. Black people fall behind technology and all of those things too. So now add on that you are a Black small business owner, you are even further behind, you know, the technology advancement scale, right? So in terms of digital marketing and the pandemic the digital marketing in the Black community, it's like, if we don't start to adopt these technologies, if we don't educate ourselves in a meaningful way to have impact on our marketing, it's going to be problematic. Like I said, we're moving more into research and data, chatbots and AI, which is artificial intelligence. We're moving to the metaverse. Like I said, if you're still concerned about your website, Wix,
all right.
Right? You know what I mean? That's not going to cut it. So like and for those people who have been able to take advantage of, you know, whatever opportunities the pandemic made available, you know, they've been catapulted forward. So the pandemic has impacted us in so many ways. Not only just from a digital perspective, but someone pointed out to me that our community tends to have multi-generational members in one household. Right. So it's like if one of us gets sick, you're bringing it to your mom, your aunt, and sometimes your grandma. Right. That's going to impact your ability. Like if people are sick and stuff like that, that impacts your ability to work, to function, because you're sick. You're around more people, or you're around a community that's more vulnerable. Whereas if you're in a different community, it's just the husband and wife and the 2 kids, and they're isolated, and, you know, mom is taking care of dinner and dad is downstairs working on his digital marketing campaign. It is a very, very different scenario for us. So yeah, great question.
Well, I am so happy that I started this journey back in long time ago, so that when all people were the people who were saying I was crazy when I started this now come to me for help.
Oh, it's always that way, isn't it?
Hey, sometimes the best form of success is revenge. You know what I'm saying? In a good way. But no, I agree that people who were online before the pandemic, I can say it's been a blessing.
Mm.
I was curious, do you find that in the Black community, we use new technology more just like on the entertainment side of it, and don't really utilize it how to get customers and increase sales?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that statement sort of crosses a lot of boards, not just technology. Like we seem to I don't even want to be like that. Like we seem to. I'm not even gonna entertain that. But yes, I do think that other communities will adopt new technologies and stuff more for commercial purposes than we will first tend to do. And I mean, God bless us. I think that we're wonderful. I think we have amazing souls. And I don't think that we're naturally capitalistic or individualistic by culture and history. I think it's something that we've adopted because of the capitalistic system that we're in. So I think our hearts tend to lean more toward social enterprise and community. We know how tough it's been. We know the challenges. So there's something they call the black tax, where it's like, yeah, we make money, but you're using that money to give back, send back home, or, to give the next generation a leg up, whereas other people have, generations of wealth available to them. So yeah, that's.
Question from one of our top supporters.
Ooh.
You may know this person. Good morning and congratulations. Just wondering what your thoughts are on paid ads for small businesses.
Ooh.
Good question.
No. I'm so excited because Ryan will know that one of the things that Mappdom, like I always talk about differentiation, right? Like the marketplace is so huge that how do you differentiate yourself? And one of the ways that Mappdom was able to do that is we have these proprietary methods. And one of them is, Ryan, the 10 Commandments of Marketing.
Yes.
And the 10 Commandments of Marketing help everybody follow the necessary steps that corporations do. So it starts with knowing yourself, doing the research and the analytics that I talk about in the beginning. And you do paid ads last. You can do a lot of organic testing through video, through content, through social media. Once you know what works, then you take that information and that knowledge and you apply it to paid ads. I can't tell you how many small businesses have come to me after the fact. They've invested thousands of dollars in a Facebook ad campaign or a Google ad campaign. They've gotten either lots of leads or the leads were crap, very low conversions because they didn't do the research and stuff in the beginning to find out what works. They burn through their budget and then they're back at square one. They're dejected. They're sad. It's like, I got to go back to work now. How come this campaign didn't work? I mean, so yeah, paid ads are amazing and wonderful if you've done the strategy and the research ahead of time to know what's going to work. And you're committed to looking at your numbers and maximizing your ROI, your return on investment.
So let me ask, is your email the same since 2017?
What is it, Nakimbe B'aobab at Mappdom.com? Is that what you have?
Yes.
Yes, my love. Yes, it is.
You know someone's going to be emailing you like within the hour.
Nice.
Yay.
Yes.
Because I have some questions for you, and I may need your services.
Yeah, and this has been a lot of fun. So if you ever need an email,
it's happening. It's happening. And shout out here, Alan Arthur. Big ups, my sister Nakimbe.
Woo! Alan, I've known Alan since high school. I love you, Alan. Such a big supporter.
Nice.
Caribbean vibes. Man.
Absolutely. What is your thought process with the current economy and when it comes to digital marketing? Because of course we're seeing the rise of pricing everywhere and people have to be even more, let's talk from a Black Canadian standpoint, more frugal with their money. Where do you, and you don't have to get into it because I'm sure you're going to have your webinar that's going to get it deep, but off the top of your head, where do Black businesses, what are some best practices you feel they should be looking at and enacting, like making decisions on and taking action on going forward?
Oh, wow. Okay. Black businesses making decisions on and moving and acting on. Okay.
Because the reason why I ask that, because whenever I meet with people and I try to help them, I say, look, I want you to come out with at least one decision and an action step. It's good to make a decision, which is always good, but you also want to back it with actions. So even one or two suggestions from where you sit from your lens that could be helpful to, I'm sure, at least one Black business and probably just anyone who has a business in general, especially a small business going forward.
Yeah. Okay. Great question.
Thank you. Ryan taught me well.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a while, right?
Over a year.
3,000 of them. Over 3,000 of them.
So that's why you ask good questions. Okay.
Oh, well, Ryan helps me now.
Oh, well, it's a good thing you brought him on board, right?
I had no choice. He'd lick me.
I would say, so that was a great question. I would say that people have to make a decision to set time aside to plan your business and then do it. When you first asked me that question, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? And I'm looking at all the difference of like hundreds and thousands of businesses that I've worked with. And I think whether it comes to finalizing your business plan, to getting your finances in order, and, Ryan, ACBN is really great with, financial forecasts and helping getting grants. So setting time aside to do your business plan, setting time to do your social media plan. Everybody seems to just jump into their business and just jump into operation. And it's very difficult to stop that, to start to do the mining and the data and the research that I talked about first. So I think whether it's operations or strategy or finance or all the myriad of things that you have to do to grow and sustain and scale your business, make a decision to set time aside every Saturday, every Sunday, once a week. Set time aside, make the decision to do it and actually do it. Get on the computer every Tuesday from 2 to 4 or from 6 to 8. Send out 10 LinkedIn messages, right? Send out Instagram messages to people.
This.
Just the decision is to decide to make the time. The action is to sit down and actually do the damn thing. I don't care what it is. Make a decision to sit down and do it and actually do it. That's the biggest advice. Yeah.
I love it. And it's interesting because I made, like, on Saturday evening, I made the decision that I was going to send out 15 video messages.
Oh, nice. I got to do that.
Right. And I've told people this before. It's still fairly new. All my introductions I do now, 90% of them, I don't do it via email. I send a video introduction.
It's personalized video. That was the other question I was thinking you were leaning to in terms of number one advice for Black small businesses. Just get into video. That is like, algorithms love it. You can do it you can have it on your website, your email signature, your trade show, your social media, your YouTube. It lasts online longer, gives you more credibility in the marketplace. It's free to do. You don't need all the organic channels of marketing are free. Content, writing a blog is free. Doing a video is free, but you just have to know how to strategically use them to your advantage. And that's the missing gap there. That's what the webinar is going to talk about in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because when I send out an introductory video, especially to corporate loves it. They love it because they say it's, first of all, it's different and it's personable and they don't forget you.
No, yeah. I mean, I get so many solicitation emails. Oh, are you looking for PCs? Do you want a new website? It's like, you don't know me. You don't know what I need in my business right now. Why are you around? You're just basically emailing me to ask me to give you money. I'm not stupid. That's what the email is about, right? But when you send a video message, it's like, wow, you've taken the time. You've made an impression. I can hear your words. I can see your face. I can get your tone. Video is the number one thing small businesses should be using right now.
There you go. No, I especially during the pandemic, I was on high with that because everyone was home.
Right. Exactly.
They were diverted. Like for some people, I'm sure. Do you know actually some of your clients that took advantage of the crisis?
Oh, well, yeah. Again, one of my clients and really good friends, actually, she's one of the people I was thinking about. So she's African dance. And when the I mean, that is just drums and live. What the heck does that have to do with computers at all? So when the pandemic hit, you know, she's one of the people who had to pivot. Marita, hi, how you doing if you're watching? She had to pivot, went online. And then what do you know? People who were too shy from around the world in like Sweden, Switzerland, all sorts of places were able to find her online and join in. So now she was able to make money by not just having local people travel, you know, 20 miles or 20 minutes to come to class. She now has a global audience, and she was able to capitalize on that and use it for financial purposes. So
nice.
Yeah, that was all video. Now her videos still stay online. She can have private tutorials. People can sign up to her website page. I mean, her YouTube. It's been good for her.
All right. Comments coming in like fire here. I like the highlighting of multi-generational households in her comments. That has been a marketing challenge in developing personalization towards a household of Black and Hispanic consumers. We also have Mr. McMillan. Great convo and insight. Thanks for sharing all the ideas. I particularly like how you spoke of small business mirroring large corporations in the way content is presented. This is a terrific talk. Nice highlights and questions. Tim says, SME Black businesses need to make multiple checklists for working on their businesses and complete them.
Yeah,
set the time aside. Yep, set the time aside and make the action to do it.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Ryan, talk, because the lady is just, well, you communicate with all the time. I'm getting privileged today.
The one final question that I would have for you, Nakimbe, is, and I don't know if you want to peel back the curtain a bit with the work that you've been doing with ACBN, but where did you see ACBN when we first engaged, and why was it important for us to get way more organized? And what would be your guidance to other organizations in the Black community to follow a similar path of getting organized with their how they represent their brand?
Well, you know, my heart's always been with the Black community. And so getting involved with the ACBN was like a no-brainer. And every time I have an opportunity, I tell Ryan how much I love him and appreciate him. And, you know, I was first drawn to him with his talk with intergenerational wealth and legacy. I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with that. So I think that just following the ACBN on social media before I became the president, and no, I was helping with marketing before that. But I'm like, you know what? It's a great organization, but I don't actually know what they do. I don't actually know what services the ACBN provides, but I know that you guys would always give updates. So I was like, let me reach out to you and, you know, see if I can help you do something that's a little bit more strategic. So that's what we were able to do. We took the ACBN through that 10 Commandments program, right? We figured out, well, why did you even want to start the ACBN? And that's where we sort of got like the brand DNA. And then if you scroll back in the ACBN's Instagram feed, and you can see like different periods, right? At one time, it's just about announcements. The images weren't necessarily optimized. And then, you know, Mappdom came in and we called out the audience. Are you a healthcare? Because that's another thing. We did the research. We found out that most Black businesses are like, I think 38% are professionals, 54 in arts and entertainment, and then there's another group in healthcare. So when we were strategically designing, and again, that was based on research on Canadian statistics. Also, another thing that Canadian statistics came out with was the different types of Blacks, like whether it's like right from the continent of Africa, or if it's Caribbean or Black, right? So if you look at Ryan's social media, you'll see that we start to call out audiences. Are you in healthcare? We talked about, you know, networking, financing, membership. So it became very clear. I think time and time again, when I work with small businesses, that's one of the things that I see that's missing is people just being clear on their message.
Clarity.
What do you offer? Yeah, what do you offer? What's the price? What time are you open? Like, don't you show me pretty pictures on your Instagram. I can get that anywhere. As a new person, let me see what I'm getting into, why I should follow you. And if I'm already following you, are you providing interesting, engaging, informative, educational information for me to keep following you? So that's what we did with Ryan. We just took him through the 10 Commandments, figured out who he was, who his competitors were, right? Because there are other Black organizations. There's First Fridays, there's the Chamber, there's the BBPA. So how do we differentiate the ACBN from those organizations. And I think we did something more around community. But yeah, taking those 10 steps and then applying them to your marketing, I say, is what I recognized was missing with the ACBN. And I'm like, I got to help you because our people need to make money. So you need to do well. So here you go.
Agreed.
And yeah, and they've taken off. Like the ACBN and Ryan, and that's one thing I love and appreciate. He really took heed to my advice. Some people don't. He just followed. He was extremely coachable. And now they're seeing the results of that. And it's been nothing but an honor and a privilege to work with him and the ACBN.
All roads lead to Ryan Knight. Oh boy. I'm telling you. So Ryan is LTDs, learnable, teachable, and duplicatable, right?
That's right.
We'll work on the duplicatable. I love that.
Well, you're doing it already, man. So it's all good. It's all good. Before we let you go, and some people may not know this, were you able to do a TED Talk?
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? UTSC, I guess, had put out a call to people if they wanted to nominate someone or do you know, whatever. And someone put my name and then they reached out to me and they said, hey, someone nominated you or said you'd be doing a great TED Talk and we know you graduated from the U of T. So, but I had to compete for it, right? For me and a bunch of other people. What's your topic going to be about? Blah, blah, blah. And then a committee had to decide on if they wanted me to do one, and they did. And so that's what I did.
How did it feel doing that?
Oh my God. Well, you know what? It's funny. That's another great question. Thanks. So it felt great. I was super excited. TED Talks have really launched people's career, like big speaking platforms. And I'm like, I'm going to be the next Lisa Nichols or Tony Robbins. And then that was like, I gave my TED Talk February 2nd, 2020, and then I had all of these speeches lined up for International Women's Month in March of 2020, and then I think on the 12th, the world shut down. And so like no one, like TED Talk, who cares about your TED Talk? I'm like trying to survive a pandemic here. So, but it was still great. I still got recognition. It's something that I can say forever, and I'll probably do another one. So I'm excited about that.
So for those who are watching live on the replay, I've on my Facebook page and on my YouTube page, I've actually put the link for Nakimbe's TED Talk if you want to watch it.
Oh, thank you.
No
please comment because that's good for algorithms.
That's
and
the key.
Don't just watch it. Comment, like, share.
Yes, and that's another thing people need to realize. If you are a content creator, get your people to make comments. Just liking it doesn't do much. Get them to comment. Get them to subscribe to your platforms.
And another thing, Black people, don't be shy. You have to have selfless, shameless promotion. This is a very competitive world. You think I don't care? I'm plugging my webinar, I'm plugging my TED Talk. You guys got to do the same thing too.
100%.
You see. Well, I know you have a lot of things to get to, as always, but we need to have you back.
Sure, this is a real pleasure. I enjoyed it.
And actually, I want to offer something to you offline.
Okay.
Offline.
You know how to be. No problem.
Now, do you want an email or do you want a video?
I want both, my friend. I want the video in the email.
Video in the email. Yes.
Okay, so then I'll send it to the video to you via LinkedIn.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for the opportunity and the invite. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. And if you want to get in touch with this wonderful lady and her team, there's a website address right there.
Yay.
Sweet.
Pleasure having you on today.
Thanks so much, Nakimbe.
Nakimbe,
God bless you guys.
Yeah, keep the faith and remember to give yourself grace and remember to not only manage your time, but manage your energy.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Be well and keep the faith.
All right.
That was some serious knowledge bombs that were dropped there.
It always comes with it.
Absolutely. So see, you're finding out the keys to Ryan Knight.
Right.
Finding out the keys to Ryan Knight. All these people that are in his journey. Bam, 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 bam. That was great. And yes, so by noon today, folks, that video message will be sent to Nakimbe and an email is going to be sent to Nakimbe. I have some questions and I have something I would like to offer. I would like to offer some of my time help what she's doing. What is up for the rest of the week?
Solid. This week, getting back to admin. What else is happening? I can't think of anything specific. Let me look at my calendar. We'll be back in Hamilton to see the ACA team with Evelyn and Harry on Thursdays. So it'll be probably every other Thursday, but we had some meetings booked with entrepreneurs there. So yeah, I'm going to head back and start spreading the business development arms of ACBN to support other cities.
So I have a question for you. How many kilometers do you put on your car every week?
Every week? Oh, my car has 424,000 kilometers on it.
Since when?
I bought it 2013.
Okay. Yeah. It's not too bad. Okay. I'd like to know how many in the last year, though. Well, no. I'd like to know actually how many since we into the next phase of the world. How many you put? How many? Well, actually, I'll be interested to see how many kilometers you put on it weekly.
Yeah, I've never really broken it down. It's usually like 40 to 50K a year. So yeah.
Wow. We'll see. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, folks, everyone, thank you for watching live and on the replay. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. You can get replays of this madness we call the Morning Vibe on my YouTube and Facebook page, the ACBN Facebook page, and Ryan's Facebook page also. And I don't think they do the replays on LinkedIn. I think after it's finished, they don't. Do they just do
we should check that. I actually don't think
they do. I think they just do the live broadcast and that's it. But if you want to catch replays, again, my YouTube and Facebook page, ACBN Facebook page, and Ryan's YouTube page. So we're broadcasting. We've maxed out on all the places we can broadcast to. We want to get some more, and we do have the YouTube issue on Ryan's YouTube page, and the ACBN page is resolved, so you can see them there now, because he'd get upset at me if we didn't get it resolved. So it has been resolved.
Soon to be on the Black News channel in Canada. We'll reboot it in Canada. Since
we haven't finished with that conversation.
Friday it's coming. Listen,
I know if we're not blessed to have if we don't have a friend coming on Friday, I'm going to draw out some notes about that, because we got to. And I know that actually need to have Marlon Steven.
I was just thinking
a back channel about that, because because we need to know, we need to get his thoughts on this. And is there actually, we need a Black News channel in Canada? And actually, I mentioned that to Mr. Greg Fergus a few years ago.
Hey, well, let's rekindle that conversation, because it needs to happen. And I know there's a few 24-hour stations that are online. So does it make sense having a channel? We'll see. We have to talk about it.
Absolutely. So everybody, thank you so much as usual. Want to say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions that aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And one other thing. If you didn't catch it yesterday on Black Canada Talking, we had an epic panel discussion. Had Sarah Yango, journalist out of Ottawa, Cesar Nadima Musa, activist and Pan-African activist out of Ottawa, and we had Roger Dundas
from BuyBlacks.com,
co-founder of BuyBlacks.com, and we had fire conversations yesterday. And just one little highlight from it, we were talking about Blacks not wanting to go back to the workplace because of microaggressions in the workplace. And Cesar dropped the knowledge on saying they're not microaggressions, they're aggressions.
Right. And that's where being online now, people have been missing those side remarks at the office, At home, you can just focus on your work. So I'm going to rewatch that conversation.
You see this? I'm right here when we're ready. Okay. So Marlon, maybe we'll back channel you and see if you're available on Friday and say, what is the viability of a Black news or channel? And Tim Frey is saying, BET Canada coming, good or bad? Is that a fact? I didn't know. It's Tim back channel. I didn't know if this
was in Canada, but a specifics like they're going to be Canada here, like headquartered. That's quite interesting.
That would be so. Maybe Marlon, we can get Marlon for Friday and have a conversation about Can Canada handle a Black?
We'll pull Tim into this one too.
That would be a good roundtable.
Absolutely. We'll ask him. Tim, we'll ask him right now. Tim, are you available on Friday?
That would be a really good roundtable.
Yeah.
Talk about the state of the Black Canadian content online industry. You know what? I think because you know what, and the people are gonna, how come you didn't bring me on? How come you didn't bring on?
Listen, we'll invite Robert and Moses that run an actual 24-hour station.
You know who people. We need to maybe plan that one out, because there's a group of people we should have on for that. I'd love to get Shirley from Black Canadian content creators.
Yes.
And there's so many. It's a who don't you invite? Because again, you want a Canadian Association of Black Journalists, but I think maybe what we want to do is maybe run a series.
Yeah. And
have different people on. I think that may be, because there's so many content creators that we need to showcase or show to audience that I know of, that a lot of you probably don't even know exists. So I think maybe we'll have to talk about that back channel wise. Marlon's saying BET Canada, it's been attempted more than once before.
Gotcha.
So see, we have people that know more than us when it comes to this space that we can bring on for you. All right.
We'll start the series.
We got to see how we'll plan this series out and get different content creators to talk about the state of Black Canadian media and what next.
Agreed.
All right. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And two last thing. Well, I said remember to give yourselves grace. And also, remember, I always say this now, it's important to manage your time, but it's just important to manage your energy. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. See you Friday.